Hello, I'm Jesse Palmer, and welcome to Recipe to Riches, where one Canadian home cook will win $250,000.
This is humongous.
Our judges, celebrity chef and cookbook author, Laura Calder.
It's completely unique. I've never had anything like it.
Oh my God, are you kidding me? I'm so excited!
Marketing guru, Tony Chapman.
I don't think somebody's gonna buy fish in a bucket.
And product development expert, Dana McCauley.
I think we have some challenges turning this into a product.
It was really hard to hear.
Our judges go coast to coast, searching for the very best in 7 different food categories.
I hope it wins.
Each week, finalists compete in one category to prove their products are ready for market.
You're going for a serious prize.
It's hot.
Now it's time to get serious.
That was a disaster.
Then, with the help of Galen Weston, executive chairman of Loblaw, Canada's largest grocery chain,
This was an extremely difficult decision.
a winner is declared. Each weekly winner takes home $25,000
Oh, I can't bear it. It's too much.
and sees their recipe join the prestigious President's Choice line on store shelves across the country.
Hip, hip,
Then it's your turn, Canada.
I want you to all try the bacon stampeder.
On the final showdown, your vote will determine the winner of our $250,000 grand prize,
It actually smells like $250,000.
sending one Canadian home cook from recipe to riches. Tonight's category is one of our desserts categories. You all tasted some incredible sweet puddings and pies at every stop on your cross-Canada search. Let's take a look. Over the course of thousands of auditions, our judges saw hundreds of sweet puddings and pies.
I've created a plum tart.
Delicious apple pie.
Look how cute it is.
But only a select few received the coveted golden recipe card.
Okay, bring on the patient. Saskatchewan says hello.
This is just a classic little tart.
I want to hear about how kind of tough, edgy-looking guy came to make such a pretty pie.
I want to hear you say that name with some Western flair.
Apple pandowdy.
A little louder. Let me hear that pan dowdy.
Apple pandowdy. I made a Thai-flavored key lime pie.
It looks like tadpole tart.
Fair enough.
What this is, it's sort of a lemon meringue pie without the guilt of pastry and without that dubious white fluff on top.
I make this too. My mom makes it. It must be a very East Coast sort of thing.
But I'd like to think mine is unique.
The flavor's so good, pie is so in.
It's magical. Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, thank you. I love you all.
The pie I've made up over the years, it's called Stars in Your Eye Chocolate Pie.
Where's the name come from? Right there?
This is called sparkling strawberry pie.
This is almost a cloud texture, isn't it? Like
Cloudy.
you just kind of want to...
The recipe needs work.
This is pudding chômeur, classic Quebecois dish.
I know about 20 people who I could serve this to who would just, like, lick the plate.
It's very sweet. I love it.
Tell us what you really think about it.
This is so Quebec.
You got it. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I saw a lot of people leaving and they didn't get any tickets. But then now I'm gonna feel extra special if I do get one.
Should we unwrap this now and you can tell us what's
It's like a present.
I know.
Are you excited?
I'm very excited.
I'm more excited for it. Canada is often known as a melting pot of cultures, and I created the melting pie of cultures. Exciting, right?
I love your little packaging. It's very party chic.
I think pie in a jar is brilliant. I think you could be onto a very big, new, exciting product. You are gonna get a gold card for giving it for your brilliance and genius.
Thank you so
Well
much.
done.
Bye.
Look at those bows on the heels. Mamma mia.
Over the course of thousands of auditions, our judges narrowed the field down to just 3.
Oh, God.
Our sweet puddings and pies finalists are Glo McNeil and her lemon pudding, Brad Gash and his maple pudding, Mi June Pak and her pie in a jar.
Nice to see you again.
All right, judges, what was it about Glo, Brad, and Mi June that brought them here today?
Glow, your dessert, you glow, first of all.
Thank you.
But your dessert is one of my favorite classics. Very clean flavors, very accessible, and I think everybody should be able to have it.
It's almost like a little black dress of the dessert world because, you know, the lemon pudding can be every day or it can be snazzed up and served at the fanciest dinner party.
Brad, your dish is basically a poor man's pudding, and it's one of the richest things I've ever tasted.
It's so fantastic that finally people get a chance to acknowledge that Canada has its own answer to the sticky toffee pudding.
I mean, June, you brought one of the biggest ideas to this competition.
The whole idea of portion control and having something in a little package that's just special is, you know, just like you, it's a perfect little package.
Aw, thank you.
All right, let's get to know Glow, Brad, and me, June.
6 years ago, I took this dog in. She was out of shape, overfed, and I was too. We both started eating better, and we both started running together. So it's become a ritual for us. We eat good food, and we don't eat a lot of it. I'm no professional chef. I've never been formally trained by any stretch.
That looks so good.
But I make good food. This is a traditional Quebec dessert. I think that most people outside of Quebec have never heard of pudding chamar, let alone tasted it. And I think that this being on the store shelves would open up a whole new world. It would put it out on the market, and I think that's a great thing. If I won $250,000, I would probably consider going to culinary school. This opportunity represents a whole new world for me.
Lunenburg. It's a gorgeous place. I'm very much influenced by what Lunenburg triggers in me. I've never made it and let it sit for a day. Growing up in England during World War II, very few fruits were available to us. Before the war, my mother made lemon pudding like this one. And to me, this symbolizes the end of the dark days of World War II and the return to luscious lemons. $250,000 is an incredible amount of money to pensioners. Oh, if we were to win this money, it would literally be extended life for us.
So that was really interesting. It was totally different than what I was expecting. I read a food blog. It's a diary of all the restaurants I go to, of all the food I eat, and just my thoughts about them.
Look how massive this burger is. That's like the size of my head.
Every time I eat, I'll think of ways to kind of make it better, or I'll think of what I would do if I were to make the dish.
I'm here with Chef Hamid, and we're learning how to make blown mozzarella.
I've been really lucky to try so many different dishes.
Next up, we're making a cotton candy pizza.
So I have a good idea of what flavors would go together in my head. I called my recipe Canadian pie because it embraces a whole bunch of different cultures.
Voila!
250 grand is a lot of money.
Yay! Winner!
You know, it'd be great if I could host, you know, everyone that supported me for dinner, but by then I'd probably not have $250,000 anymore.
Tonight, one of those three finalists will walk away with $25,000 and watch their homemade dessert become a President's Choice product this weekend. We'll be right back. The call went out to Canada's home cooks, and hundreds answered with scrumptious sweet puddings and pies.
And look how cute it is.
I know 20 people who would just lick the plate.
It looks like tadpole tart.
The judges narrowed the field down to just the top three.
Oh, God.
Our sweet pudding and pie finalists are Glow McNeil and her lemon pudding, Brad Gash and his maple pudding, Me June Pack and her pie in a jar. Okay, Glow, Brad, and Me June, you made it to the top three, but one of you is about to have your sweet pudding or pie distributed across the entire country. That is a lot of pudding or pie, which is why it's time for your batch up challenge. Now, you have to make 200 servings of your puddings or pies, making sure that each and every serving is just as good, if not better, than the pudding or pie that got you here. Lucky for you, you won't be alone. Let's meet your product development mentors. Jason Rosso, Maggie McEwen, and David Burnett. Now, these guys are the pros, and they can help and advise you in a commercial kitchen, but they can't cook for you. Don't forget, this is your recipe, because after this challenge, one of your Recipe to Riches journeys will be over. Good luck, and off you go.
Good luck.
Happy cooking.
Glow, Brad, and me, June, have less than 6 hours to finish their massive batches.
I'm going through those kitchen doors, and I'm seeing one big-ass kitchen. Oh, my God.
It is a zoo. I mean, it's huge. Look at those lemons. Look at those gorgeous eggs.
I'm looking at all the ingredients, and I feel so special. I'm so excited to see all my ingredients there in such large quantities.
Brad, tell me what we have here.
This is called pudding chômeur. It's a traditional Quebecois idea from the 20s. It was developed by factory workers during the Great Depression.
Oh my God, very good.
It's amazing.
So this is my Canadian pie.
Okay, great. I want to talk to you about the crust a little bit. I also find it really sweet.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. The ingredients that have sugar in my recipe are sugar, and then I have marzipan.
You have honey, it looks like.
Yes.
Is that maple syrup there as well?
Yes. And then I have brown sugar, as well as sugar on the top for the creme brulee topping.
In every aspect of your recipe here, we have some form of sweetener.
So how long have you been making this?
70-odd years.
I think one of the things I love the most about your recipe is just how simple it is.
You're right, Dave. There's just the 5 basic ingredients: lemon, milk, eggs, sugar, butter, and a smidgen of flour.
Well, why don't we go over and have a look at what it's going to take to make luscious lemon pudding times 200. Have you ever heard of Jennifer Lopez?
J-Lo, sure.
J-Lo. So
I watch her all the time.
We want to call you G-Lo. We love it. G-Lo.
I bet she can't cook.
She has the sweet smile of a grandmother, but when it came to, okay, let's get this done, she had her game face on.
And we're folding. We're not beating. As the flour goes in, there will be no more beating because we're going to toughen it. Are we cool?
I feel like Alice in Wonderland. Everything's so giant. I've never seen a pan that big before. I didn't even know it was a pan. It looks like a bathtub for a really large baby. Oh, it's browning.
She's really outside of her element. I mean, the most she's ever made of this recipe is 8 portions. I can easily see this going south very quickly.
So this is basically a couple of distinct processes. There's a sauce and there's a cake. The sauce is the easy part. The cake is going to be broken down into a couple of components. 15. I was stringent today because I'm thinking this is going before judges. This is going to be taste tested. This is going to make or break me. This is going to mean I win $25,000 or I don't. She's got 60 eggs cracking, so now we're going to get to the creaming the butter and sugar.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm worried that the butter is not going to be crumbled enough. I made the dough, and it was completely different than what I experienced at home.
Okay, I want you to give it a try, too.
Okay. It was more like dough than it was a crumbly crust. It was almost bread-like, and I'm thinking in my head, oh crap, it doesn't normally feel like this when I make it at home. It's made of marzipan and ground almonds, and it's not like that. It was completely different texture. It freaked me out.
We need a whisk, a large whisk. Nice large, whoa.
Large enough for you?
That's a whisk. Okay, coming in beautifully. The egg whites are going to be folded in very, very gently. They have to be mixed very evenly, otherwise we'll have little bubbles of egg white and the whole thing might zonk. If this part doesn't go according to plan, we could have disaster.
There we go.
And make sure, Brad, you get right perfect.
We're getting the brown sugar and the butter mixed up. We start popping in the eggs, everything separates. So you've got chunks of butter and brown liquid. And I'm thinking, damn, this is not how this is supposed to look.
God, it looks horrendous, I'm not gonna lie. Right now, we're very worried about the recipe. The most important part looks like it's separated, actually.
I see this separated butter brown goo mixture, and I'm thinking, oh my God, have I completely blown this?
The clock is ticking. Someone will be sent home after this batch-up challenge. The last thing Brad needs is separated batter.
I see this brown goo mixture, and I'm thinking, oh my God, have I completely blown this? The issue is the butter is a little too cold. So I'm thinking, I can correct it. I can fix this.
We don't happen to have a hand mixer, do we? Like a handheld blender?
An immersion blender?
Yeah.
I've used many immersion blenders. I have a great one at home, but my immersion blender, I hold it like this. I have never in my life had to throw one on one shoulder while I hold the other end and hold the buttons up top here while I try to coordinate this and not have it, you know, fall over or make me hit the floor.
Coming together.
Perfect, perfect, perfect.
I feel my years right now. I'm pushing 82, and it's been a very strenuous day. Even though I'm in really comfy shoes, I can feel every single toe. I'm quite sure I've worked a hole through my socks just by standing.
There are 200 jars, and we had to put the dough in each one of the jars. So we had to pat it all down, make sure there's no air, and we had to make sure they're all even.
Is we're going to probably...
You want the syrup to be halfway up the cake.
All of them? That's exactly how it looks. We're gonna need an oven at 350 degrees.
It's just that it looks like they're cooking more in the back.
1, 2, 3, open up.
Okay, it's hot, it's hot.
Okay, I'm all right. All right? Yeah, yeah.
I've got a little bit of a battle scar, but it's okay.
It's not blistering or anything?
Not that I see.
We're gonna need to fill all these jars up with the pears.
That's done. That's done.
Cheers, everybody. Great job. To G-Lo. Here we go.
Give it a rip. Welcome back, competitors, product development mentors. We'll start with Glow, her mentor David, and Glow's luscious lemon pudding.
How was your day, Glow?
One of the greatest challenges was the size of the equipment I was dealing with.
Bigger than you were.
A lot of it was bigger. There was a stage where I thought someone's going to have to hold my ankles if I get into this tub. It was scary. It was scary.
There's quite a lot of sauce in this one. I guess that's a matter of taste, but it has a really nice creamy consistency. What do you think of that, Dana?
Yeah, it's
different from what I'm
I
used to.
You know, another minute or two, and it could have been set a bit more, but I'd much rather have more creaminess than not enough.
You kept good balance between sweetness and lemon, which could have been lost in a batch up, so that's good.
Do you see this being unique enough to be competitive?
Tony, I think this has a market that's waiting for it. I haven't seen anything like it anywhere. I want something that people will think, it's so simple, she must have made it herself.
All right, let's move on to Brad, his mentor Maggie, and Brad's maple pudding chômeur.
I remember it being so much squishier before. I mean, the flavor is good. It's not
So
as mapley
delicious.
as before, but it is a very, very tasty dessert.
But it's a very different
It's a different product, yeah.
It's different, but it's not bad. I mean, it still tastes very good. And you do get that saucy pudding cake bottom still.
You know, you learn things when you're doing this for the first time. That original recipe, I obviously experimented with that a number of times to get it so that you have that perfect texture. First time in an industrial oven, you realize, oops, this is not the way to do it.
And finally, we have Mi-June, her mentor Jason, and Mi-June's Canadian pie in a jar.
Okay. How did your day go?
It was a little stressful, yeah. I didn't realize, you know, cooking in the volumes, you can't just increase everything and then it'll be perfect.
I think the concept is still a massively big idea, but the execution is nowhere near what we saw in the edition.
It's very sweet. How did you do on the sugar?
We actually took the sugar down.
You did?
Yeah.
And what about the crust? You didn't cook it before it?
I did pre-bake the crust.
Because the crunch is now coming from the top to the bottom. It's like it tastes a bit like raw cookie dough.
That's actually a little bit changed as well because the dough came together a lot faster.
Those machines are powerful.
Yeah, they're so much bigger and it just...
It is very, very sweet, but that is what a lot of people look for in dessert.
Yay.
We got a lot to talk about in
Yep.
deliberation. But you guys all delivered taste.
Okay, Glow, Brad, and Mi-June. It's now time for you and your mentors to leave so our judges can deliberate. And as you know, when you come back, one of your Recipe to Riches journeys will be over. Please step outside. All right, guys, what do you think?
Glow's luscious lemon pudding is just that.
If Glow wasn't attached to that recipe, would you have the same heart for it?
It's still a good dessert in and of itself, and it looks homemade.
It looks homemade.
Yeah.
And my point is, will somebody pay a premium in the freezer for a product that they think they could very easily replicate at home? Now we've got Brad.
I like the original better. I want that sauce. I loved the squish of it before, and now it's this sort of dry cake, but the taste is completely there, very mapley and luscious.
It's a poor man's pudding, but so rich. For me, it was like a one-biter before because it was so over the top, whereas I actually find this a little more approachable. He's like one little tweak of the dial from having what he wanted. I still love the concept of Mi-June's recipe.
Yeah, I mean, they look great from here, and it feels like a kind of special treat to be able to pick up one of these things and dive in there. I think the crust is not, there's not really any point to it because it just does not give a crispness, which is what she wanted it to do.
Yeah.
I still believe this is one of the biggest ideas we saw across Canada because of the potential of variety packs, serving it out, everybody enjoying it. For all those reasons, it's a big idea.
So, judges, have you made your decision?
I have.
Yes.
As of right now, all three of you are still in the running for tonight's prize of $25,000. Distribution as a President's Choice product available on grocery store shelves this weekend. And a shot, the grand prize of $250,000. However, one of you is about to be sent home. Let's find out who when we return. Our judges went coast to coast looking for Canada's best recipes. 3 emerged as the sweetest sweet puddings and pies. But that group of 3 is about to become 2.
It's come down to me to let one of you go. Glow, Brad, and Mi-June. This was a tough, tough decision to make. Mi-June, you brought me one of the biggest ideas I've ever seen as a marketer, and we all loved. But you overthought your recipe to the point where you underdelivered. I'm sorry, but your Recipe to Riches journey is over.
Mi-June, you should be very, very proud of your accomplishment. Congratulations on making it this far.
Thank you.
I wasn't surprised by what the judges said today about the product. I definitely knew that it didn't deliver to how it usually is. The other two are great, so I had tough competition.
So we're down to just two, Glow and Brad. And guys, we knew you had great tasting products. It's time now to introduce your sweet pudding to the public. You're going to brainstorm with two of the best creative teams in the entire country to bring your product to market with a splash. Now, with their help, you're gonna have to think about product name, its presentation, but you're also gonna have to stage a public event that proves your sweet pudding is commercially viable. In other words, you have to prove people wanna buy it. So make sure you come back with tangible results. Here are their addresses. You have just 24 hours starting now. Good luck and off you go.
And here's Glow McNeil now.
Hello.
Hello. Welcome to Fuse.
I am so excited. I really am. I love this bit. I feel I'm a selling animal. You have no idea how exciting this is.
I'm sure you are.
I mean, it's way better than the church bake sale.
Okay, Brad, so tell us, what do we have here?
This is classic maple pudding chômeur. It's a classic French-Canadian dessert. This is out of my comfort zone, sort of. This is what I used to do. I have a theater background. So it's kind of like getting back on a bike, but the bike's kind of rusty. So I'm hoping I don't fall off.
So, Glow, what have we got here?
Well, at the moment, it's being called luscious lemon pudding.
The #1 trend for 2011 is really the notion of people getting back to their roots, bring them back to a time, whether that their mother or their grandmother's made food for them.
What do you think about adding the word grandma in?
Grandma Glow's luscious lemon pudding.
I'm gonna have to warm to it, Grandma Glow. You don't think of yourself as a grandma. I see some little old lady in a shawl. That's not me.
Maybe we could say maple pudding treat, maple pudding cake, or maybe we should just stick with maple pudding chômeur.
I like Frenchifying it. I like the chômeur. It tells its roots.
I have a certain vision in mind, and I am thrilled that they are sharing this vision. They see this the same way that I do.
Yeah, I like the maple pudding chômeur.
Maple pudding chômeur can work.
I like that.
Yeah. He threw it out there. We were thinking the same thing. Maple pudding chômeur, done. So you have 20 hours to pull together an event where people are going to be sampling these.
We need our lemonade-type stand and signage over the top, right?
Perfect.
We have people standing by with little lemon-colored aprons and maybe little caps, and they've got their little plates and they're handing them out.
I
and
love
they're handing them out with. They've got some fabulous ideas.
Glow, what if
Lemon
we
and
did
yeah.
what if we did like a barbershop quartet? She is really a firecracker. She came prepared. At one point, she stood up and started going, and we need tables and banners. This is amazing.
That's an exciting. So, what?
You're just so good.
I think I cut loose a little bit. I hope they don't think I was just a babbling old granny.
Okay, so we have costumes. We have bears, beavers, lumberjacks.
Well, there's a ton of cliche Canadiana stuff.
I would like to see some sort of a shack built that is as close to a log cabin sugar shack theme as you can get. We're talking about beavers, moose, dancing, break dancing.
So when you do an event like this, right, you want to do visual, you have sight, sound, taste, smell.
Do we have the ability to get a flame and a pot and some maple syrup? The smell of maple syrup is so
that's
strong.
true. It is very.
When you
it
get
is,
that
that's
into
true.
the air, they literally follow their nose to it. I know I do.
So we're gonna take.
So your timing.
Wow.
So we want it to be very fresh.
I'm really excited by the way it's building. We're thinking logos, we're thinking music. It's getting more and more exciting. There's so much to do. I don't know where to start.
I love the shape. I love the lettering. I'm feeling very, very, very nervous. I have got a huge showdown. I am not as much of an extrovert as she is. I've got to get louder. I've got to get stronger. I've got to get out there, and I've got to push myself into that extroversion level big time. Look at that.
Beautiful.
Wow. I have a checklist of things that I need to make sure happen. Getting everyone together, making sure the dances are ready to go, making sure the DJ is ready to go.
We wanted to get some boiling maple syrup.
This boiling maple syrup pot, that is one of the key things that I really, really want in this event.
Tight as you possibly can. I'm gonna step away from it and have a look.
It looked better before.
How on earth do I get this up here?
Thought I was going to have lots of people. Why aren't the singers standing up there singing? Flyers, flyers. I'm terrified. Why is it sagging in the middle? Nothing is sure in this, absolutely nothing. Oh, they're not sticking it. Oh my God. There's an awful lot riding on it. It's whether I go or whether I stay. Paul, I desperately, desperately want to stay. Oh, I can't bear it, it's too much. Okay, smarten up, girl.
Two delicious desserts, but only one can win. Brad hopes an urban sugar shack will draw a crowd to his maple treat. Meanwhile, Glo believes an old-fashioned lemonade stand will lure customers to her lemon pudding.
We should start catching students right away. Free dessert, wonderful free dessert. I have the potential to have Grandma Glo's dessert, which is just something I make for the family, on food shelves around the country. It's absolutely mind-boggling. Accost everybody with charm.
When the judges arrive, I'm thinking I cannot pay attention to them. They're here, great. They can see the spectacle, they can see what we're doing. I know we're doing an amazing job. My concern is getting the dessert in people's hands and making sure that they can give feedback so that I know whether or not they like this dessert.
Maple pudding chômeur.
So somebody watching, there you go right there.
I hope you have a sweet tooth because, man, this is sweet.
It's like a cake soaked in maple syrup.
That's exactly the idea. Maple cream sauce, actually.
I like the maple.
Yeah, you love the maple, eh? You must be Canadian.
It's not too sweet.
Good, good. I'm glad to hear that.
I am thrilled with the reaction that I'm getting from the pudding.
You like it? It's amazing. Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's very nice.
Yeah, you like it, huh? Would you actually buy it if you saw it in the freezer?
Now that I know about it,
Absolutely.
I would.
I talked to more people in 20 minutes than I usually do in probably a week. So it was phenomenal.
Luscious, luscious lemon pud. Bop, bop. Dum.
Are you enjoying the product?
Yeah, it's really good.
Oh, that is good.
Do you have a grandmother that makes?
Yes.
Has she ever made anything like this?
Maybe not this good.
Really?
Would you recommend it to a friend?
Definitely.
Okay, that's great.
The students love it. Every single one of them. Everybody I have talked to says it's delicious, it's wonderful.
That's awesome.
Really?
That's delicious, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
And you know what? I filled out all the surveys too. People love this stuff.
This is such a validation. These kids have no reason in the world to be nice to me. They have no reason in the world to say something they don't believe.
We are sold out!
Woo! Woo!
I'm on a high. My gut is telling me that I have a very good chance of winning. People love that dessert.
Thank you, Beaver. Thank you, Moose.
Cheers. Thanks, Grandma Glo.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Very soon, I'm going to stand in front of the judges, and my future, the future of my husband, the future of my family, is in the hands of three people. I'm going to pray that it works out.
Welcome back. One of you is about to win tonight's prize of $25,000. Distribution as a President's Choice product this weekend. But not only that, whoever wins here tonight instantly becomes one of 7 finalists competing for the grand prize of $250,000. It is a huge decision, which is why we've added another chair to our judges' table. That's right. It's time to meet the 4th judge on our panel, the man in charge of Canada's largest food retailer and the home of Canada's best-selling food brand, President's Choice. Loblaw's executive chairman, Galen Weston.
Hello, Glo.
Mr. Weston.
Brad. Jesse.
Galen.
Judges.
Hello.
So, did you have a good time today?
Amazing time.
Yep.
Good.
Yep.
I have a particular soft spot for desserts, and yours are two of the best that I've ever tasted.
Thank you.
But it's not just the recipe that makes a supermarket product successful. It's also about how do you get the product to jump off the shelf. Now, I understand you've both been paired up with some very capable marketing experts to help you think that through. Glo, why don't we start with you? What's the name of the product?
Grandma Glo's Luscious Lemon Pudding. I'm branded. The idea is that it's a lemon meringue pie for the 21st century. It's the kind of thing I do and have always made in my kitchen, and my mother before me, which is not like anything you've, with all due respect, you have on your shelves or in your freezer. It's something that nobody's met before.
Grandma Glo, where did that come from? And
Well, that came from the marketing team. After a while, getting over the shock of thinking of myself as grandma. Because, you know, inside, I don't think I'm a grandma. I think I'm just a mature teenager.
I just don't believe you, deep down, love the name Grandma Glo.
You're right.
Yeah.
I'd rather be called Hot Glow or Teenage Glow.
Well,
I'd
you had
rather be
G-Lo
called-
before. I thought...
G-Lo is good, too. It doesn't look good on a pudding.
Yeah.
Great. Brad, tell me about yours.
Maple pudding chômeur. Pudding chômeur is a classic French-Canadian dessert. It's been around for about 80 years. We're trying to bring it out of Quebec and all across Canada. I think, personally, we might be sitting on the next poutine.
There's a lot of parts of the country that would be a brand new name. So what made you go and stick to the roots of saying, that's what I'm going to call it?
You know, when poutine made its way into English Canada, we didn't call it gravy cheese fries. It gives it its name, its authentic French-Canadian name, but it doesn't draw attention to that word, which is French, and people are not going to understand.
Judges, what did you think about the events?
I loved both events. Glo's was fun. I loved listening to them. They sounded good. It was cheerful. It made me want to move. And Brad, yours was a hoot to these crazy breakdancing animals.
But there's one tiny way that Brad edged you out, Glo. You had great music, color, and aroma. I got out of the car and I was hit by the beautiful scent of maple syrup.
So you were both asked to get some tangible results. Brad, why don't we start with you? Tell us, how did the customer respond to your product?
93% said they'd buy it, 94% said they would recommend it, and almost every single person said they loved it. A couple of them asked me directly, where can I find it? When's it going to be on the shelves? What store is it at? And I'm thinking, whoa, 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 getting ahead of ourselves.
Glo?
97% said they enjoyed it. 98% said they would recommend it. And out of an audience that was almost entirely penniless students, 89% said they would buy it.
Impressive.
Good scores from both.
I don't have any more questions. It's going to be a tough one tonight.
Very.
No question about
Painful.
Thank you.
Our judges must now decide which of you is tonight's winner. Let's find out who when we come back. Our judges are about to decide whether Glo or Brad leave here tonight with $25,000. Whether Grandma Glo's Luscious Lemon Pudding or Brad's Maple Pudding Chômeur will become a prestigious President's Choice product on grocery store shelves across the country this weekend. And finally, whether Glo or Brad will still be in the running for our grand prize of $250,000. It's time for our judges to deliberate. Please step outside. All right, judges, what do you think?
Both these recipes are exactly my kind of thing. I love them both.
They are both superb, different, delicious. I think this is about the story. as opposed to about the product.
There's a good story on both sides as well, which really frustrates me.
I think Glow's is really versatile, and because it's so high-low, like you can't eat it on a weekday, or I would serve it at a dinner party. I'd serve it in winter, I'd serve it in summer.
So many of the desserts out there tend to be heavy. You don't have that with this luscious lemon pudding.
No. We have a hero in front of us in Glow. I mean, she was born in 1929.
She's an inspiration.
She's inspiring, and I just want to put that's something we got to take into consideration.
I was disappointed in the Grandma Glow as you were, but I don't want her to be Grandma Glow. I just want her to be Glow.
She's G-Lo.
Brad's here is a Canadian favorite, and he made it. His event was hip and homey at the same time.
When it comes to maple pudding chameur, hidden inside a freezer door,
yeah.
Am I just gonna walk by that because I don't know what that means?
The maple story is always a great story to tell. It's an easy story to tell. You can dress the freezer doors with maple syrup. You can have maple cookies. There are just so many different ways that you can call attention to a frozen product.
It's something that everyone, I could see them just loving and claiming, the whole country saying, this is ours. When he said this is the next poutine, I thought, he's not wrong.
All right, judges, have you made your decision?
We have.
We have. Absolutely.
Glow, Brad, this is it. Judges?
Glow, I love the high-low aspect of your dessert, that you could serve it on a weeknight or have it at a very elegant dinner party. I wish you hadn't put Grandma Glow, because I love that you were just Glow. Brad, quite seriously, if I could take one recipe from this entire competition for my own, I would take yours. Unfortunately, I may not be the mass market.
Glow, your personality and your recipe is just simply remarkable. And Brad, perseverance, creativity, and a recipe that once you taste it, people continue to crave.
Glow, you've got a dessert that is appealing 12 months of the year. I just worry that in the grocery store, where there's lemon meringue pies and lemon cheesecakes and lemon tarts, that it might not be different enough. And Brad, you've got a recipe I would definitely buy, but I wonder if I would only buy it during the cold months.
Brad, when you think about the romance of maple, the romance of French-Canadian sticky toffee pudding, when I tasted it, I had to get them to take it away from me. Otherwise, I knew I was going to finish it all. Glow, the romance is just as powerful. The story, lemon is such a common flavor, a flavor that people will embrace after taking everything into account. I feel that the judges and I have made the right decision. I just can't tell you how difficult this was. Glow. You are this week's winner of Recipe to Riches.
Congratulations.
That means, Brad, that your Recipe to Riches journey is over.
The real reason I was here was to make my mom and my girlfriend proud. Not being able to say, I won, and having that jumping up and down, I'm a little bit disappointed. Well, a lot disappointed. I didn't win. I came here to win. But I'm so happy for Glow.
I know nobody has ever seen me speechless, but I really was speechless.
Congratulations, Glow.
Me, this little old granny from this tiny little town, has made national shelves and brought a new product to the country. I'm so tired, I can hardly think straight.
Glow has just won $25,000 and a spot in our Recipe to Riches finals. Glow's luscious lemon pudding will be available in grocery stores throughout Canada this weekend. And as one of our 7 finalists, she also has a shot at winning the grand prize of $250,000. And that's where you come in, Canada. Once we've chosen our 7 winning recipes, you'll get to vote for the best of the best. And in the end, send 1 Canadian home cook from Recipe to Riches. Will it be Glow? We'll have to wait and see. Good night.